I did some looking this week on the interwebs, as they call it, looking ahead to summer. They say, give or take, and who knows how they come up with these statistics, by the way. Also, as an aside, I saw this Facebook post by Abraham Lincoln that said 62% of statistics are made up. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But what this one said is that 55% of adult Americans are now, in February, planning a summer trip, a summer vacation. Anybody looking that far ahead to summer yet? A few. Oh, see, there you go. That's not quite 55%, but we'll get there. Now, and when they did this, they're not talking about like a day trip somewhere. They're talking several overnights. In fact, when I saw this number, I was curious because they had said the average length of this vacation that 55% of American adults are planning is 11 days. Anybody planning an 11-day trip? That sounds amazing. If anybody wants to babysit for me for 11 days, give me a call. I'm a preacher, so I can't pay you, but I'll pray for you the whole time. Keep that in the back of your mind. Now, with all that planning going on, I thought it would be good of me, it would be an act of service for me to look through the 4 most common types of trips people are taking and offer some pointers on each one, okay? So take this for what it's worth. It might be worth exactly what you paid for. The first type of trip, the least common, by the way, but what I think is kind of it's really fun, it's really interesting, is a plane trip. Anybody flying this year, planning on flying? You couldn't do that a couple years ago. We're making up for it now. If you're going on a plane trip, you need to make sure you go to your antique store and get you some luggage right here with, you'll notice a common theme here, you got to have a bag of snacks. Now, here's the key, though. Airlines don't like it when you bring snacks on the plane. So you got to take that thing, shove them in there, and you'll be all right. Everybody with me, all right? We are in May. My wife and I have the privilege, there's another one, we're flying out to California for my commencement ceremony from seminary. And so, thank you. The message there is, I'm just a few months away from finally being able or being qualified to be a pastor. So, there you go. Just bear with me a few more months. We'll get there together. Least common type of trip, lots of fun. If we move up, we've got a plane trip, we got a boat trip. Go ahead and throw that picture up there. Now, in a boat trip, it's very important that you wear a full-brimmed hat like this, because I love wearing them and it gives me an excuse to do so. Have you noticed, by the way, when we talk about boat trips, sure, we include cruises and stuff like that, but the most common type of trip, especially here in the Midwest, float trip, think about this for a moment. This is a purely Midwestern thing. Somebody at some point in time stood on the banks of a slow-moving creek and says, you know what? Give me a six-pack and I'll just ride that thing all day. And now it's a huge industry. You don't hear folks from really anywhere else doing that. That's a Midwestern thing. And if that's your thing, go for it. Have fun. Be warm, be fed. We've got plane trips. We've got boat trips. The most common-ish, we're not quite the most common yet, the next most common type of trip, car trip, road trip. Anybody like road tripping? I do not. In fact, our plane trip for 2 to California was originally a road trip for 8 to California. And I met with the doc, and the doc said, 9 days with 8 people, 6 kids in the van. And I said, that's not good for your mental health, Pastor. Don't be doing that. And so I have doctor's orders not to do that. But what do you need on a road trip? Well, you're going to notice a theme here. You got to have your snacks, right? Today's sermon brought to you by Aldi, I suppose. And a tradition that we have in our house, and I know it's bad, but oh well. Whenever we go on a road trip, we always stop at the gas station right outside our house and we get us a Monster drink, and that's kind of our fuel for the road. That's what we like to do. And so we know we're road tripping when someone's busting out a can of Monster. Then we just know it's happening. Anybody road tripping? That's all kinds. Some people love it. Me, not so much. Get out of here, goldfish. There you go. Go swim over there. Swim with the boat trip. We've got plane trips. We got boat trips. we got road trips. By far, the most common type of trip people will be taking this year is close. That's if inflation keeps going up. The most common type of trip people take is a guilt trip. Wow! Now, the doctor said I'm not allowed to work out after my surgery, and so I figure while I'm speaking today, I'll try to get some stuff in for you. When we take our guilt trips, we need to bring our weights. Why? Have you ever felt the weight and the burden of